Assalamu alaikum class 7. How are you all? Today we are going to revise over chapter number 9, waves and energy. We will try to cover some important topics of this chapter. So first of all, let's understand the term waves and energy. Energy is the universal or a fundamental term we use to describe the ability or a capacity of an object to do some task or cause changes in the environment. There are different forms of energy like kinetic energy, potential energy, electrical energy, and all these forms of energy are interconvertible. So we can say that energy can neither be created or nor be destroyed, but we can convert it into one form to another. Like you are eating food and food will give you energy. You will utilize this energy to perform different kinds of tasks. So energy transfer can be possible between the objects, but with the help of the waves. Waves are everywhere. Waves are basically the vibrations that transfer energy from place to place, cause disturbance, and travel through a medium transporting energy from one place to another place, but we can't see or hear them. Like if you are throwing a stone in a water, you can see that the circle will be produced on the surface of the water and starts from one point to the other and transfer the energy from the center to the all the parts of the liquid area or the liquid surface. So the disturbance caused by the wave is spread equally in all the directions. There are basic two types of the wave. The first one is the mechanical wave and the other one is the electromagnetic waves. Mechanical waves are those waves that require medium for the transfer of energy. So matter is compulsory if we want to transfer energy from one place to another. And you know that matter exists into the three states: solid, liquid, and gas. And plasma is the fourth state of matter, and that is rare. That is basically the ionized form of gas. So, if you want to transfer the energy, you can need a medium in the case of the mechanical wave, and medium can be solid, liquid, or gas. But the speed of the wave depend upon the choice of medium. If you are choosing a solid medium, then the speed of the wave will be greater than liquid and the gas medium, because in solid particles are closely packed. The space between the particle is negligible, so the transfer of energy occur very fastly within a few of seconds. The common example of the mechanical waves are the sound waves, ocean waves, and the seismic waves. But there are the some waves which do not need any medium for the transfer of energy, like they are able to travel in a vacuum. Vacuum is a term that is used to describe a area that is lack of matter, especially air. Okay, so basic examples of the electromagnetic waves are the radio waves, microwaves, infrared waves, x-rays, light rays, and heat rays. These are all rays that do not need any medium for the transfer of energy place to place. Mechanical waves are further divided into the two types. First one is a transfer wave. In the case of transfer wave, the direction of the propagation of the wave and the movement of the wave particle will be at right angle to each other. Like if the wave is moving in the direction, then the particle will move up and down with respect to the direction of wave. Means move at the right angle to each other. That is basically the normal wave cycle. Like imagine you are holding a rope, okay, and you give a sharp flick upward. The wave travel horizontally while the rope move up and down, and this motion is what define our transfer wave, because both the particles and the direction of the wave are perpendicular to each other. Longitudinal wave is the type of the mechanical wave in which the direction of the propagation of wave and the motion of the particle of medium will be the same direction. Okay, so the energy will be transferred in the case of the compression and rarefaction. Those area in which the particles are close to each other will known as a compressed area, and the particles which are far from each other is known as a rarefaction area. Like this is a source of the sound that will produce a sound energy, and this sound energy will given to the particles of the medium. Those particles will receive the energy, will come close to each other with respect to the other particles. So with the help of the compression and rarefaction, the energy will be transferred from this point to this point easily, but the direction of wave and the motion of the particle will be the same. That is basically not occur in the case of the transfer wave. In the case of the transfer wave, the wave transfer energy in the with the help of the crust and the trough. The area which is above the mean position is known as the crust, and the area which is below the mean position is known as the trough, and the direction of the wave is horizontal. So the particle move vertically with the respect of the wave and transfer the energy. Let's discuss the basic characteristics of the wave. This is basically the journal representation or a symbolic representation of a wave. Okay, that is a wave cycle in which the area which is above the mean position is known as the crust, and the area which is below the mean position is known as the trough, which is occur in the case of the transfer wave. The distance and the midway point between the crust and the trough is known as the node. Wavelength is basically the distance between two consecutive crust or two consecutive trough is known as a wavelength. Amplitude of the wave is basically measure the height of the wave, like from mean position to the extreme position. The amplitude of the wave is the maximum displacement of the point of the wave from its undisturbed position. For example, in the it is shown as the height of the wave crest or the depth of the wave trough from the middle. Okay, the bigger the amplitude of the wave, the more energy the waves carries, and bigger the amplitude is, the louder and the more intense the sound. Frequency is basically describe the number of waves passing a fixed point every second is called the frequency of the wave, and the common unit of the frequency is basically the hertz. Like it's describe how many cycle of the wave passes in 1 second or in a given time period. Now that is the question, why we can hear a sound. We can hear a sound just because of the compression or rarefaction of the air that is surrounded by us. Okay, so when we speak, the air molecules receive that energy, and by the passage of energy from particle to particle, we can hear the sound easily. But when we speak in a room where there is no air is present, then we can hear no sound. Okay, because no particle are available for the transfer of sound energy. Now there is a audible frequency range for human, and that is 20 to 20 kilohertz. Okay, and this range is decreased with the passage of time. The older person get the less frequency one. So hair damage can also be caused by the exposure to the loud sound. If you are listening the sound whose frequency is above the 20 kilohertz, then that cause a hearing loss. Okay, so the audible frequency range for adult is 20 to 20 kilohertz, and the sound whose frequency is greater than the 20 kilohertz will be known as a ultrasound, and that is not audible frequency for human beings. That is all for our today's lecture, in which we covered the we learned the difference between the waves and the energy, and covered the types of the waves, and learned the audible frequency of human beings. Okay, so if you have any question related to these topics, you can ask me, and you have to learn or keep learn the difference between the waves and the energy, and also and the difference between the transfer and the longitudinal waves.